What if I told you there's a country that isn't real? No borders, no flag, no history, just a name whispered through the smoke and shell casings of 100 action scenes. It's the kind of place that only shows up when everything goes to hell, when the mission's off the books, the choppers are inbound, and the body count's about to spike higher than Lizzo's blood sugar. Reporters can't find it, maps don't list it, but every time the South American jungle catches fire on screen, this country is there, somewhere between the bullets and body count and nowhere at all. A phantom nation, a political mirage, a war that never ends, fought by men who never existed. And yet, it keeps coming back. Different faces, different battles, same soil. Enjoy the sun, sand, and sustained gunfire. Welcome to Valverde. Someone built this place. Someone wanted it to exist not once but again and again. And if you trace the explosions far back enough, you'll start to see the pattern. These movies were never supposed to be connected, but Valverde doesn't care about that. In the 1980s, screenwriter Steven D'Souza was like, hey, is there any Central or South American countries going through political turmoil, corruption, dictators, or military interventions? And John Connor was happy to answer the man.
All of them, I think.
D'Souza, fully wanting to avoid Pan-American hit squads or the even more dangerous cold-blooded creatures called lawyers, didn't want lawsuits or diplomatic complaints from any nation's government or representatives. So he invented a country out of whole cloth, and congratulations, you've just won an all-expense-paid trip to beautiful Valverde. That's right, you and a guest will fly first class, assuming the runway's still intact, to the tropical paradise that's always on the brink of something exciting. Enjoy sun-soaked beaches patrolled by heavily armed freedom fighters. Sip authentic jungle cocktails as you watch tracer rounds light up the night sky. Tour the historic capital city where every building has been rebuilt at least twice this decade. Dance the night away to the rhythmic sounds of helicopter blades and distant mortars. And don't forget to pick up a souvenir from Valverde's bustling black market, because as the saying goes, what happens in Valverde usually gets embargoed. Valverde, where every sunset is explosive, every vacation is classified, and every tourist comes home with a story the government denies.
It's a party.
The first entry in the Valverde cinematic universe, or true patriots like to call it, the Valverde-verse, is none other than the 1985 classic Commando, a film so perfect it was nominated for Best Movie Ever Made by the Academy of Guys Who Are Completely Straight. Valverde was born in 1985, somewhere between D'Souza's caffeine crash and Arnold Schwarzenegger's very legal vitamin injections. Valverde came screaming into existence as a discount Central America built entirely out of palm trees, sweat, and Reagan-era foreign policy of blowing shit up and asking questions later. If I need to explain Commando's plot to you, congratulations on scoring those Celine Dion tickets and bleaching your asshole all by yourself. And just in case your asshole is pearly white, ex-Special Forces Colonel John Matrix, part-time lumberjack, full-time dad tank, gets blackmailed by Valverde's exiled dictator to assassinate the new president. The deal? Kill that guy or never see your kidnapped daughter again. You know, just your standard 80s parenting dilemma. But the big question is, does Matrix do what is asked of him? No. Now that John Matrix literally blew up the entire coastline to save his daughter, Valverde got quiet for about 2 years. And in Valverde time, 2 years is just long enough for you to think, haven't heard an explosion in a while. Something's probably going horribly wrong. That's the eerie calm before everything inevitably gets shot, blown up, or stolen by a guy in a tank top. But then along comes Predator, and Dutch and his Special Forces team of steroid Hall of Famers drop deep into the jungles of Valverde to save a diplomat who's already dead. Now I know what you're thinking. Dutch looks an awful lot like John Matrix. That's true, because they are played by the same actor, Arnold Schwarzenegger. While in the jungle, people are losing their minds.
You lose it here, you're in a world of hurt.
And their skin.
He was skinned alive!
So Dutch and his team had enough, blew up a helicopter, and roughly 347 brown people.
Stick around.
But the real problem is there's an alien out there with a serious case of jungle fever, and he wants in on some of this action. Naturally, this alien decides to be efficient about it and kills Dutch's entire team first. Because why take things slow when you can just murder everybody? And now that he has Dutch all by his lonesome, he asks him out on a date. But Dutch rejects him.
You one ugly motherfucker.
Dying from embarrassment, he's like, "You're right, I am ugly," and self-detonates not from the wrist, but from the heart. But you're like, "Dr. Splice, they never mentioned Valverde and Predator. It's an undisclosed location." And I'm like, "Shut up, nerd, I'm getting to it." But then you interrupt me and say, "Also, Isabella and Predator say that it happened in Guatemala." And then you show me the example on my own video.
87 Guatemala. A Spec Ops team went into the jungle. 6 men plus a CIA liaison. Only one made it out.
Oh well, I guess you're right. Show's over. You busted me. Let me nuke you the corn dog filled with gloating victory for you. Of course, before I do that, there is just one thing. Arnold reprised his role as Dutch for the video game Predator Hunting Grounds. And in that game, there was the Dutch tapes. And on the very first one of those, he calls it the Valverde incident himself.
It's September 12th, 1987. My name is Major Alan Schaefer, also known as Dutch, U.S. Army veteran, Special Ops Commander, and the only survivor of the Valverde incident.
Ergo, ipso facto, carpe diem, and other Latin phrases that may or may not work in this particular moment, the mission in the first Predator was launched in Guatemala, but took place inside Valverde, and therefore Predator took place in Valverde. And I will be taking that victory corn dog back now, thank you. Of course, that means that if Predator is a part of the Valverde verse, you can bet your sweet muffins the Alien franchise is by default as well, due to the fact that Danny Glover got a good eye on that Xeno skull in Predator 2 just before they started busting some sweet dance moves. And the whole Alien versus Predator thing. Who knows? Maybe even that big booty Latina Vasquez is also from Valverde.
Let's rock!
But don't go running off for a shower and shampoo to rinse all those brain fragments from me blowing your mind just yet. Because the connections to this tropical death paradise, they get even better. We're talking start making some maps and some 1-to-1 scale models in your living room while your family leaves you, levels of cinematic universe insanity. Next up is Die Hard. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, hey dude, now you're off your rocker. Die Hard takes place in a building, not an island, you knucklehead. And you're absolutely right, silly me. But here's the funny thing. It's about that truck Fancy Pants Hans Gruber and his naughty listers sneak into Nakatomi Tower in. It's a Pacific Courier truck. So yeah, file that little Trojan horse under suspiciously convenient things I'm pointing out for later. But before we take off from Die Hard 1, let's check in real quick with Gail Wallens for no apparent reason whatsoever.
Sources say the terrorist leader Hans may be this man Hans Gruber, a member of the radical West German Volksfrei movement.
Wow, Volksfrei, you say? Kind of sounds like a car that runs on an air fryer which only cooks bad eggs. Thanks, Gail. But Die Hard's real connection to Valverde shows up in Part 2. In Part 2, Die Hard 2, Die Harder. A title so redundantly awesome, it loops right back around and becomes even awesomer. Here, the perpetually wrong way John McClane finds himself knee-deep in yet another terrorist fiasco, because apparently Dulles International Airport, in the pride of our nation's capital, has about the same security protocols as Chuck E. Cheese on half-price token night. His new enemies? A rogue paramilitary unit trying to bust out General Ramon Esperanza, a cigar-chomping Valverde dictator being extradited to the U.S. for running his country like a coke-fueled Costco. And much like Commandos Arias, Esperanza's big plan to reclaim Valverde ends in the same way, face down on the runway courtesy of America's baldest badass.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
But the Die Hard connections get even deeper than the hole John keeps digging with his wife. 1994's Speed, the Keanu Reeves action movie that definitively proved women are terrible drivers, is also part of the Die Hard universe. So remember when you were hardcore naysaying me on Die Hard 1? Well, it's time to bring up that Pacific Courier truck Hans Gruber did his runway walk on. Pacific Courier is also the name of the plane in Speed they decide to ram the bus into towards the end of the film. And therefore, by the sacred laws of action movie logic, Speed existing in the Die Hard galaxy means it's officially part of the Valverde-verse. But wait, the Die Hard connection doesn't stop there. Remember when I said let's check in with Gail Wallens for no apparent reason whatsoever?
That's what you did!
I lied.
Gail Wallens is the news anchor in the first Die Hard. She's also the field reporter in the Denzel Washington action thriller Ricochet.
Whoa.
So in total, that's 8 Alien movies and shows, 7 Predator movies, 2 Alien vs. Predator disasters, 5 Die Hards, Speed, Ricochet, Commando, bringing the grand total to 25 movies and TV shows in the Valverde-verse. And that's not even counting the video games and failed TV pilots, because apparently the Valverde-verse is less of a franchise and more of a cinematic cocaine overdose. So, after all this evidence, all these explosions, dictators, corporate logos, and Arnold Schwarzeneggers who definitely aren't the same guy, but absolutely are, let me tell you that the only logical conclusion any sane person with access to cable TV at 2 a.m. could reach: John Matrix, Dutch, John McClane, Jack Traven, Mike Harrigan, and Nick Stiles are all alive at the same time, because Valverde demands it. Think about it. This is a place where physics, continuity, and immigration law goes to die. A place where a chopper can explode 1 mile north of a jungle, where a bus is currently jumping a freeway gap that doesn't exist, while a predator dances over the corpse of a dictator being blown up by Bruce Willis's hairline. And floating above all of it is Gail Wallens, reporting live from whatever violent disaster needs an on-site cameo that week. These guys don't just coexist, they share the same bus route. The Pacific Courier shuttle probably drops them off. Because Valverde isn't a country, it's not even a place. It's a time loop of explosions where every action hero exists simultaneously, eternally, and hilariously. A cinematic Thunderdome powered entirely by cocaine, tank tops, and studio executives screaming, "Just reuse the prop truck, no one will notice." And if you listen closely, really closely, you can hear it echo across the steaming jungles and collapsing skyscrapers of the Valverde-verse. A national anthem worthy of the only country held together entirely by duct tape, explosions, and the creative paranoia of Stephen E. D'Souza.